Today's challenge is probably the hardest challenge that I will ever attempt. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easy and 10 being difficult, today's challenge is like 1,000. My advice for those who would dare to attempt this challenge is to make sure they have money for chemotherapy, because cancer will be pulling up on you for just having thought of doing this challenge. The Resident Evil 2 remake, the City of the Hell mod, is a mod where the death animation is nothing more than an unskippable cutscene that you watch over and over. Half of whatever clearance time you get after finishing the game will be just for death animations. The insane difficulty of this mod is so unmatched. The creators of this mod say that it is designed for people who have mastered other difficult RE2 mods, not just the vanilla game. I barely played the game. This was my first playthrough, which you can watch in this video, and these two were off camera and I was just chilling. Nonetheless, today I am going to attempt to get an S rank in the City of the Hell mod without dying. Yes, you heard me. I will complete the entire game and get an S rank in one go. But before we start, here are the rules for this challenge. I am not allowed to load my last save in order to return to a previous save and finish certain sections faster. I have to get an S rank, no infinite weapons, no perks, and most importantly, no deaths. Dying will return me to the start of the game. Side note, the lovely people who made this mod set the clearance time to get an S rank to be under 5 hours, which is logical due to the difficulty of this mod. Thus, my goal is to finish the game under 5 hours and without dying. So, am I going to be able to complete this challenge? Let's find out. Immediately after starting the game, I noticed that there's an item box in this area. What did I get myself into? Going inside the convenience store and finding a first aid spray, I was like, this is the time where I ditch the challenge and go play Clash of Clans instead. But you guys know that my favorite food is grilled cancer, which meant that this challenge was still on. The run to get the key was nothing too crazy, up until Pookie decided that he wanted to block our door. I refused his attempt to give me a hickey, squeezed myself through some people, and when Leon pulled up, the real challenge had officially started. And in the first area, the challenge ended. Thank you for watching. Nah, I'm kidding. I did die in the first area, but after figuring out what I needed to do, I finally made it to the RPD, only to die to freaking Birkin and get sent back to the title screen. And after doing all of that all over again, I defeated Birkin and I finally stepped foot inside of the RPD, only for more zombies to fall from the sky. Obviously, Claire, didn't you see those 3 zombies that just fell out of the sky? Immediately after going inside the PD, I got the Lion Medallion and the Unicorn Medallion. The Lion Medallion was extremely easy, I just had to walk up some stairs. But the Unicorn Medallion was something else. But before we get into that, let's discuss how I depleted all of my luck deposits in this little section. After acquiring the Dead Guy's coloring book, this happened. Haha, I learned this trick from Daddy Mayo. Hey yo, isn't this the gas station sheriff? Ah! Well damn, that's crazy. I don't know what happened, but something did happen. Please tell me there's no more zombies. What on earth did I click on? Please close it, come on! Woo, I am not going to the main menu. After meeting one chunk missing guy, our journey to get the Unicorn Medallion had officially started. Let's forget about that there's a licker in this corridor. I got stuck in this door and lost one of my knives. Zombies lunged at me during the wake up animation, and there were 2 lickers in this area, and I also needed to get this shelf out of the way in order to get access to the library. And let's focus on the fact that when you get to the library, 2 Mr. X's spawn. One is programmed to go up the stairs and the other up the ladder, effectively sandwiching you between them. I died multiple times in this area, and with every death, I had to go back all the way to the start of the game. A couple of hours later, I got into this room and got the blue key and the Unicorn Medallion, and then booked it. I found Leon creeping outside the station, went out there and told him to get out, and then I realized that they replaced the bolt cutter with the round handle, which meant that I needed to look for the bolt cutter through the entire PD. So after using this part and barely making it to the Star's office, I noticed the 7-foot shadow inside of Daddy Wesker's office, and when I went to investigate, it turned out to be none other than Mr. X. Yes, they put Mr. X in this tiny office. After getting slapped for a bit, I got the code for the downstairs safe, got the courtyard key, and then I was out of there. I did get touched on my way back, but I safely made it to my safe room, only to discover that this wasn't a safe room no more, and zombies can just pull up on me whenever they want. I can't take this no more. Please. After regaining my manhood, I continued my search for the bolt cutter, and after I made it to the courtyard and found the bolt cutter and the fuse, I turned around to see this. Claire pulled up to a gas station, she met Leon, she went inside of the RPD and did some stuff, and finally made it back to the courtyard. But this time, I blew every single one of them up and then booked it back to the station. But then, the game crashed. Oh no. I am not going back to the main menu. But thankfully, the hell difficulty still has autosaves. However, they are quite far from each other, which meant that I lost a lot of progress. But losing 30 minutes of progress is better than losing all of the progress. So, from now on, I saved my game manually every other minute. Because there are sections in this mod that are so difficult that me finishing them once doesn't mean that I can finish them again, and that's why the challenge is to get S rank rather than S+, since S+ requires a minimal number of saves, a requirement that couldn't be fulfilled due to the technical issues of this mod. And after redoing all of that, it was time to go into uncharted territories. And you know what I found in this area? The battery that I needed to put in the detonator to get to the maiden medallion. And oh, by the way, I still have not found the detonator, so that's great. So after using the fuse to open this gate, it was time to start looking for the detonator. I first thought that it was in the west office's safe since I just got the code for it, but it was not. Okay, maybe it's in the press room. Yeah? So I cleared some zombies and made it to the press room. I did find the weapons locker keycard, but the detonator was nowhere to be found. I noticed that this gate was already open, so I went there expecting to find it in this safe room. Anyways, I got ambushed, eliminated the threat, got the button and the gangster weapon. On the floor, homie. Cállate, joder, give me all your money, pendejo. And I was convinced that the detonator was in this room, since they just gave me the keycard in the button. Yeah, it was not in this room. But you know what was in this room? The item that you needed for the clock tower puzzle. And not just that, it required both of the buttons in order to open the locker. Okay, maybe it's in the room next to the operations room like Resident Evil 3. No, it was not. Okay, maybe it's in this room? No it's not. But wait, since I found the hand in this room and I already got the book from the library and I can get the box using the keycard that I found, it must be inside of the box. No? So I solved the statue puzzle and got the stick, shot this zombie so hard he started waving while dead, spawn camped Birkin in the liquors, used the keycard and got the box, and when I opened it, I found the STARS badge. Where the hell is the freaking detonator? So I made it to the STARS office and thankfully Mr. X was not in there. I used the badge to open this door and there it was. The stupid detonator. I was looking for that little pendejo for like an hour or something like carajo. After I got the maiden medallion and limped my way towards the statue, I was finally out of the RPD. I did start the Birkin fight on danger health, but there were plenty of herbs around the area. Not that it mattered because two Mr. X's spawned and I was sent back to the main menu. Well, at least I know where the detonator is, huh? And when I finally made it back to the same area, I was heavily prepared and Birkin was no more. I then said my goodbyes to adorable little Sherry, made it to Chief Iron's office, and the epic journey to find the 2 electrical parts had officially started. Before getting the first part, I had to go to this guy and get the portable safe, open it to get the button, go to the zombie infested holding cells to get this tool to use on this gate, which led to the breaker's room that had the police car key that had 3 wooden planks. After turning the electricity back on, Mr. X pulled up and told me that he wanted my booty. There was no way I'm letting him get a piece of my cake. So I booked it back to the station, put the last button and got the clock tower piece and the rest of the items, emptied my clips on some lizard and opened this gate, watched the lizards get freaky, made it back to this hellhole and released these goofballs, and I finally got my hands on the hotkey. It's not a big achievement since I still have not found any of the 2 electrical parts. But yay, progress. It's not like I'm gonna die and do this all over again, yeah. I hate this mod with every fiber of my being. I didn't die here though because I just juked X-Mister and taunted him as I was going up in the elevator, opened this door that took me to the roof and I got 2 green herbs that I am desperately in need of, went inside this room where I found another fuse, turned the water back on and almost shot an IV in the day, put out the fire and met X-Mister, juked his goofy ass and used the fuse to open this gate that led to the interrogation room, found the library tool, a code for a safe and the clover key, which meant that I just added 10 other places where the electrical parts might have been. Yeah, cool, very cool. And when I made it out of those rooms, the press room walls blew up. I mean, this is a cool gimmick and whatnot, but por favor, can I get some grace period in this mod? And when I made it back to my safe room, it was time to start looking for the second clock tower part. Was I gonna spend an hour looking for it? Or even worse, end up dead because of it? Nah, don't worry guys, it was in this room, which was the first room that I checked. So I went to the library, did some pushy, ran away from X-Mister, made it to the clock tower, did the puzzle, and I finally got the first electrical part. And now it was time to look for the second. It wasn't in the records room but rather in Daddy Wesker's office, which was the second place that I checked. Yeah, I'm feeling lucky. So I made it back to my safe haven, did the puzzle and started the Sherry section. Now this section is supposed to be a break. Yeah? You're not supposed to die in this section, right? Right? No need to worry about this guy because he's only here waiting for Claire to pull up. Aw, you scared little pumpkin? So am I, Monita, so am I. I'm pretty sure at the start of this chase they spawn you facing Chief Irons, so you instinctively run towards him. Because I don't remember spawning facing him in the vanilla game. Cheeky. Very cheeky. And in this area I got sent to the main menu not only once, but twice. You see, after hiding in this first spot, there are 2 other spots that you can choose from in order to finish the section. However, they blocked both of them. And what I needed to do is to wait for him to open this area for the first time and continue waiting in the same hiding spot until he goes to the bathroom. Then take the key and finish the section with no problems. Other than the fact it took me 2 days to get back to this section, but yeah, sure, whatever. After getting back to Claire, I went to this room for absolutely no reason at all, made it outside the RPD, and I was devastated to find out that this door needed a key. And I am so sorry to say this, but guys, I cheated. There were too many uncleared areas inside of the PD, and checking them one by one would have 100% sent me back to the start of the game. So I turned invincibility mod on and I started checking every area for the key. I obviously didn't take any item and I was just trying to find out where was the key. And after figuring that out, I was just gonna reload my last save and go straight for the key. So I checked in the holding cells in the press room and I realized that Gonto's shop was open but no key was inside. The door leading to the sewers was open as well, so to the sewers I went. I walked and walked and walked and I finally found it at the end of the sewers where Leon fights the alligator. I can only imagine how many days would have taken me to figure that out. So after reloading my last save, I set my health to danger as a punishment, went out there and got the key, only to discover that after getting the key, the door ends up getting broken down anyways. Sick. And after making it to the orphanage, we have a cute little fight with Birkin. Now this fight was the easiest fight that I have ever done. The area was so open that I finished this fight with no hit. So after going inside and finding the key I needed, Mr. X pulled up on me in the bathroom. This uncivilized weirdo. And not just that, his brother wanted to join in too. So I blew both of them up and went to save Sherry, only for him to come back for more and started punching my precious female body. But I didn't take any of it though, and I shot his fedora wearing ass, but he just had to get one last booty slap before dying. Man, am I right? And now we have officially started the sewer section. Right from the get-go, a bunch of Ivies pulled up. Yeah, this was gonna take a while. And not just that, all of the pieces are missing, so I'm here for a long time, not a great time. And would you look at that, the pink key is in here. I am willing to bet on my freedom that one of the pieces is inside of the RPD. So I opened this safe hoping for a key item. Went to this area, did some extermination work and got the king and queen pieces. Don't forget the spark shot. Ran away and made it to this room that led back to the station, but the palm piece was needed in order to open this gate. Luckily, zombies didn't seem to figure out elevators, so I just chilled in here and put down some zombies. And after finding the rook piece on the floor in some corner, used it to lower the bridge and get to this room, and then it was looking for the detonator all over again. You see, I needed this tool in order to progress in the game. However, it was nowhere to be found. I looked everywhere for it, and after what felt like ages, I finally found it in this little corner in this obscure area that no one ever goes to. Now, let's talk about game development real quick. A game like Resident Evil 2 is fun and satisfying to play because you constantly get rewarded with achievements. As you play the game, it gives you the sense of progression that makes the game extremely satisfying. For example, when you clear a room that was full of zombies and come back to it later, that room would still be empty, giving you a sense of accomplishment and incentivizes you to clear other rooms to have all of the PD for yourself. However, in this mod, every time you come back to an already cleared area, zombies just respawn. There's a difference between making it hard and making it annoying and tedious. Putting 10 Birkins in one room but keeping them dead after the player gets rid of them is 100 times more fun and satisfying than constantly respawning 3 zombies every time the player goes back to an already cleared area. This feels more like a task rather than a fun mission. At the start of the game, I was having a blast standing by the door and clearing one room at a time, cause this gave me a sense of progression. But when I got back to those areas only for enemies to respawn, this is where the mod started getting annoying and boring rather than difficult and fun. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Item placement. If you want to make acquiring items extremely hard, make it progression based. Exactly like the detonator. My journey to get the detonator was the single most satisfying one in this entire challenge. Each item I got inched me closer to finding the detonator, and every step of the way was clearly defined. Once you get this tool, go to the STARS office, take the courtyard key and get the bolt cutter and the fuse. Use those to get the card key that gives you the STARS badge that can be used to get the detonator. Every step is well defined. You can have as many steps as you like as long as you clearly define each one of them. Putting a key item on the ground is fine as long as it's in an area that players are forced to be in, but putting it in some random corner in some random area that the vast majority of players don't even know it exists? Yeah, no, this is not difficult, it's annoying. But hey, this is just my opinion and this really made me not enjoy doing this challenge. I can handle difficult, but annoying and cheesy, nah. After getting the tool, I used it on this gate and got up to this area only to run back down. I'm just kidding, I blew everyone up. Got a hip pouch, the palm piece and the spark shot upgrade. Used the pawn to get back to the station. And what do we have here? The developers left me a gift, huh? I mean, your mod is concept, but thank you, I guess. And after running through the PD as if I never killed anyone, I made it to the line room and found the last piece. Of course I had to come back to the PD need to get it. So I solved the puzzle, opened the door, and started the G2 fight. It wasn't that hard, all things considered, but it did send me back to the start of the game multiple times. But after figuring out what I needed to do and making sure that I had plenty of flashes and frag grenades, G2 was no more. And right after the fight, two Mr. X's tried to sandwich you, but you can easily loop them around this area and get to Sherry. And now we made it to the final area of the game. I went to the cafeteria expecting cancer, but damn, it was normal. There were a couple of zombies in the vents, but damn, it was normal. So I got the BFF bracelet, made it to this area and had flashbacks of the detonator, got this thingy, used it to open this door, opened these two doors and got my pee sample and froze it, peed all over and got the level 3 BFF bracelet. Did I finish it that easily without even having to blow this up? Well, I spoke too soon. In the typical Resident Evil 2 modder fashion, the last door is locked behind this puzzle, which meant that I needed to get two electrical parts. And let me guess, one of them is behind that wall. I did find the battery next to this door, so yeah, definitely. The first part was in the same area, so that's great. And in order to get the detonator, you needed to read this random email in this random laptop, get to this random safe, and there it was. Alright buddy, I would start running if I were you. Well damn, that's crazy. And as expected, the part was in there. So puzzle solved and vaccine acquired, and it was time to G4. Even though the area is full of supplies, I think that this fight is the hardest, and it always comes down to the tight space. During this fight, you are not just fighting G3, there were G adults, IVs, hordes of zombies, and the tight space is the only limiting factor. In this game, as long as you have space, you can fight basically anyone. But unfortunately in this fight, real estate was very limited. So after so many failed attempts, I finally defeated him. Only for him to pull up with his little brother. Oh my god, you guys are so fucking cute. You guys brought your cousin too? Oh my god. Yeah, I lost it with this mod. But hey, after I finally made it out and fought the G4 triplets, I died to the time. After spending 3 weeks on this challenge and basically giving up on my personal life to get this video out, I finally defeated the G4 triplets. Looking back at my journey and how I made it this far, the friends that I made along the way like Juanito the Mofongo guy and One Hand Manolito, and the struggles that I overcame. After all of that, I was free. No more Resident Evil 2, no more Xmisters, and no more deaths. Freedom at last. So, can I beat Resident Evil 2, the City of the Hell mod without dying and getting S rank? Absolutely yes!
Assumed Veltro made use of 2 sister ships in the Terra Grigia panic. But there was a third.
The final queen.